Because if there was no failure, there is no success, and if there's no success, no failure. They have to coexist. So I've always had a passion for not jewelry, but design. I studied architecture at university, and I always loved like problem solving and finding a solution to a design problem. I liked the idea of structure, and I liked the idea of changing existing, developing on existing products. So actually, traditionally, I studied architecture, and then I came back. I was working for a hospitality firm. Jewelry was something I was doing alongside as like a passion project. I was creating jewelry for myself. My parents are in the diamond trade, so I used to play around with a few precious stones. And then I was walking a show one day, and someone really liked the pieces I was wearing, the ones that I designed for myself. So they said, "Oh, why don't we have a company? Why don't you design a capsule collection for us? And we'll give you commission on anything that sells." So I started a small capsule collection that was like a side gig, and they took me to Vegas, and next thing I know, I'm just getting such a great positive feedback on the designs that I've created, and it felt like it was something new in the industry, and it kind of ignited this passion in me to like start creating my own line. So I worked with this firm for a few more months and understood like a year, understood the trade, learned, got a little bit of work experience, and then I kind of started creating pieces for myself and for my business. When you start designing something, the only way to know how successful it is actually seeing it being sold in person and seeing how your customers / how your consumers react to the product. It gives you a lot of feedback. It gives you a lot to go back to the drawing table and kind of work with that feedback if you want your product or your design to flourish. Psylish is a COVID baby. Dezen is my original brand that I started almost 10 years ago. And that's like a little bit more high end. I'm turning it into more of a lifestyle business. We have, that's all handmade, all handcrafted. It's inspired from a lot of my culture and travels, whereas Psylish is, like I said, a COVID baby. So I wanted to create everyday jewelry that you can wear from day to night. I'm wearing like Psylish pieces now because I'm gonna go do a few meetings right now, and then I'm gonna go to the gym. So it's just easy, more everyday second skin jewelry. And so both brands have a different design solution, a different target market, a different aesthetic when it comes to design, different price point, majorly different price points. So it's kind of like utilizing what I already know about the industry and kind of creating a new market for a new style of jewelry.
So, as we see many companies these days, they launch a new collection in the existing company. So, what was different about launching a whole new company as for the daily wear or the affordable range?
Well, like I said before, the Dezen is a little bit more occasional wear, whereas there haven't been many occasions in the last 2 years. So I wanted to create jewelry that was just more like, felt like it was a part of your body from the get-go. So you can sleep in it, you can shower in it, you can work out in it, you can go to a meeting in it. It's day to night. It means it's got a more everyday factor to it. It also is jewelry that I think people just want to kind of bling a little bit with their existing attire. Like a lot of people are now wearing more streetwear and athleisure and loungewear. So jewelry that kind of suits that vibe more. You don't have many weddings or galas or parties going on right now, and they should have been in the last few years, 1 year. So this jewelry kind of encourages kind of like being able to still feel pretty, but at the comfort of your own home. One advice I'd give my younger self is, don't always believe that success is an uphill battle. There have been many downhill battles, and in the beginning, I didn't know how to deal with them. So just being patient and being a bit more grounded from the get-go, and when you start off a business and everything is such a high and you're just so excited, but you don't really account for days like today, days like the last year, and just being more cautious, being more considerate, and like I said, but just being more patient. So actually, I did have financial support in the beginning because I got an investor on board. The first year I was creating jewelry for another company, right? So I wasn't putting any of the investment in. And then the commission I made from that first year of working with them is how I sort of invested into creating the business. I reached out to contacts, I gave proposals, I showed design sketches, I showed, samples to let people believe in me so that there is an investment from their point. And then obviously showing them a plan of action and showing them that this is what my vision is with the pieces I'm about to create, the concept I'm about to create, and making sure that your vision is being translated to them, and so they can see your vision and invest in your vision, which is why you need to utilize every move in the book. You've got to make sure you've got to look at the opportunities, but also the threats. You've got to look at the strengths, but also the weaknesses, and be honest about, more realistic about your goals. I mean, there's always trends in and out. Obviously, the trends have changed from like glam to like street and more loungewear. What other online e-commerce is a major transition from like in the fashion business, I would say, in the last 10 years. People are so prone to buying their items online and like don't really want to go walk into shops or stores anymore. And COVID's made that even more rapid than it was going at. And I just feel like people also really want to resonate with the story of the brand and the sustainable factor, or if there is something there's a feel good factor about buying the piece. So if there's a charity that they're involved with, or if there is like for example with Psylish. We don't do a lot of pieces on hand. We do a lot of made to order, so we don't hold a lot of inventory, just to be a sustainable business around COVID. And then also like using recycled metal, making sure we're, very particular about the workforce that we work with. And I think consumers are resonating with that a lot more than they used to. A lot more fashion, and now I think people are more particular about quality over quantity. The risk, there's no risk. It's just that it's more expensive right now to have a sustainable business because you can't just like create thousands of pieces of something anymore. We've got to take care of the climate. We've got to take care of the pollution around us. So being sustainable and being eco has become a little bit more expensive, and I do think that will change. That means the price of product goes up. That means people have to be more careful about their investments, and they cannot just buy like 10 things, buy one thing, but buy it like well and buy it with good spirits. Other than that, I think just making sure like your business is giving back in some way or the other, or making someone feel good about investing in your brand. There are no such risks. It's more about you have to work around it. It is a little harder. That's what I would say. And educating the consumer, it's definitely a big part of that. So if you educate your consumer, I feel like the consumer wants to invest in you too. In the beginning, it was hard. Failures in the beginning when you're not used to them can be a bit can hurt a bit of your mental health. You can get a bit, impatient, like I said. But eventually you get to learn in the long run when the failure comes back into some way being a success. You understand it's a cycle, because if there was no failure, there is no success. And if there's no success, no failure. They have to coexist in order for you to experience both. And just to know that is something that I think is very important about running a business, whether it's you're part of a business or whether you are running a business or whether you're part of a team. And just like, coming out of your failures as fast as possible, or making the right moves in your life to get that failure out of your system. So, starting to, maybe look into the positive, like changing your mindset, being more positive, finding solutions is really important. There are so many people in the world, and as there's more access to technology, the consumers just keep growing. Obviously, numbers are great, and everyone wants to be like the biggest of brands. But being a big brand comes at a huge cost. The management level, the consumption level, you have to be a little bit more less. I feel like it's a bit more business driven as opposed to more concept or design or emotional driven. So it really depends on what you think success means to you. Does success mean to you as like making a certain amount of millions a year, but doing it at any cost, or running a very successful business that has a big message, but doesn't need is making the numbers to keep you driven and keep your team driven and successful. So it really depends to person, to each his own. And also with big power comes big responsibilities. So when you are at that level of a big business, you are in charge of so much in that zone that you have to almost give away so much of your personal life. So it really depends on what you drive to be your success, I believe. Like the first few years, I loved the travels and meeting the new people, and I just kind of learning so many people's stories. That was definitely the high when I first started out. Now it's about creating solutions to small designs, and just kind of like seeing people in my items and appreciating them, and believing in me. I just constantly cannot believe that people believe in what I do and how I vision things, and that is just so exciting as a business. And although every day has become sort of a roller coaster ride, I don't know if it's going to go up and down. The ride has just definitely been exciting on most parts. I have a bunch of different mentors for a bunch of different reasons. I believe in reaching out to whoever I know if I need their assistance or mentorship. So I have mentors who've consistently been in my life from the beginning of my business. And then I have ones that I reach out once in a while because I want to talk about different aspects of my life. And then, my mother is my biggest mentor in the sense that she's been an extreme businesswoman her whole life. So, well, not her whole life, since she moved to Hong Kong after she got married. And, that just gives me so much inspiration as to how she runs her entire life in such a wholesome way. And then you'll have mentors who will advise you with a certain deal that you're working with. So if I have a deal that requires a law specialty, I'll go to maybe someone that I feel like is mentor to me in the law department. If I need someone with some design instruction, I'll go reach out to a mentor that has more design expertise. So it really depends on what area of the business or what area of my life that I need mentorship with. Sometimes my the closest 5 friends to me are my mentors, because I can just kind of lay out an idea and for people to just give me their 2 cents as to what they think. So mentorship comes in many different ways. And then now I get the luxury of mentoring so many people under me. So that's exciting, because it's all about taking and giving back and then continuing that process. Summits are great because you can get so much of knowledge from people that you would maybe not meet on a life basis, because trial restrictions, or your paths don't cross. This is the opportunity. Knowledge is such big power, and to have access to that, places like Summit are great to have access to that, because you get to see people see different points of view, and really almost be with them without being with them. And with the power of technology, we're able to reach so many people who give so much mantra to so many people. And I think E-Summits are a great way to connect people who have so much to say with people who are in need of wisdom and knowledge, and maybe just some form of inspiration or some form of motivation. And sometimes even just listening to someone's life story, even if your business and their business is so different, but there'll always be an overlap where you'll be able to learn something from their business or from their life that will help you, maybe not now, but it's subconsciously in the future. I think for me, it's constantly wanting to keep continuing and keep growing. I believe that I have access to all this information and all this data over the last 10 years. And so I constantly believe that that is my asset, more than even the finance factor, and being able to then reinvest that data and that asset into creating new things. I just launched a very limited edition streetwear line that's all blinged out. I'm wearing one of the tanks. And, I never thought I would put my name on a piece of clothing, but just being able to seeing where the demand is, and then seeing if I have the right resources to create something for that demand, like I said, design solution, and just wanting to keep going. I just want my life to be meaningful in any way or form, whether it's my personal or my work life, my professional life. So I think I want to wake up every day wanting to do something good for myself or the people around me, and wanting to be it being meaningful, whether it's my personal health or whether it's business, and then just utilizing everything that I've created